If you've been anywhere near the tech space lately, you have probably been absolutely bombarded with buzzwords like agentic capabilities or AI agents. Honestly, with every single company rushing to rebrand their software right now, it can feel like a totally overwhelming wall of noise. But today, we're going to cut through all that intimidating industry jargon. We are kicking off this explainer by looking at what AI agents truly are, how they're completely different from what you're using today, and exactly how they're going to impact your daily workflow.
Okay, let's dive into this by following a really simple three-step learning path. We'll start with Level 1, Passive LLMs, move to Level 2, Directed Workflows, climax at Level 3, Autonomous Agents, and finally, look at AI agents in action.
All right, starting at the baseline, Level 1, Passive LLMs. We are kicking things off with large language models. You know these. They're the foundational technology powering hugely popular tools like ChatGPT, Google Gemini, and Claude. The basic mechanism here is incredibly straightforward. You, the human, give it an input, and the LLM spits out an output based entirely on its massive pool of training data. It really takes the heavy lifting out of basic communication. I mean, these models are fantastic at generating text. They can take your rough bullet point prompt and output an email requesting a coffee chat that is frankly way more polite and professional than you or I would naturally be. It's simple, it's effective, and it's what we've all grown super accustomed to over the last couple of years.
But here is where we hit a massive wall. Imagine you ask your favorite AI chatbot a highly personal question. Something like, hey, when is my coffee chat with Elon Husky? It is going to fail instantly. Why? Well, because it just doesn't have access to your private calendar data to know when that meeting actually takes place. That failure perfectly highlights the core limitations of basic LLMs. First off, even though they're trained on vast oceans of internet data, they have absolutely zero inherent knowledge of your proprietary information. They don't know your personal calendar, your internal company databases, or your private emails. Second, and this is crucial, they are entirely passive. They literally just sit there waiting for a human prompt before they can do anything at all. Understanding those two limitations perfectly sets the stage for our next big step up in tech.
Which brings us to Level 2, Directed Workflows.
This is where we step in to fix that frustrating data problem. Imagine we change the rules a bit. If we explicitly program a specific path, basically telling the AI, hey, every single time I ask about a personal event, go fetch my Google Calendar data first, well, suddenly everything changes. Because we provided that explicit control logic, the AI can look it up and tell us exactly when we're meeting Elon Husky. We've effectively given it a set of train tracks to run on, bridging the gap between its broad general knowledge and your specific private data.
However, those tracks are incredibly rigid. If you follow up that successful calendar query by simply asking, so what will the weather be like that day? The entire system completely breaks down. It fails because a human didn't pre-program a weather app into the control logic. The workflow only knows how to search the calendar, and obviously your calendar doesn't forecast the weather. It highlights a fundamental truth here. Workflows can only follow the predefined paths rigidly set by humans.
Now, I want to take a quick detour to translate one of the most intimidating pieces of AI jargon into a remarkably simple concept. You have probably heard the acronym RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation, thrown around a lot. It sounds super complex, right? But in reality, it's just a process that helps AI models look things up before they answer, like checking that calendar or pinging a weather service. At the end of the day, RAG is essentially just a type of AI workflow designed to look up external data so it can give you a more accurate answer.
To really visualize workflows in action, take a look at this automated Make.com setup. Here, a human explicitly dictates every single microstep the AI must take to create a social media post. Step 1, go to Google Sheets, where I've compiled some news links. Step 2, send those links over to Perplexity to summarize the articles. Step 3, push that summary into Claude with my specific prompt to draft a LinkedIn post. You could even schedule the whole shebang to run daily at 8 a.m. Now, don't get me wrong, this saves hours of manual copy-pasting, but it still requires your hands firmly on the steering wheel. It is entirely human-directed from start to finish.
And here's the ultimate bottleneck with directed workflows. Let's say you get that drafted LinkedIn post back, but it's just not funny enough, and you consider yourself a naturally hilarious person, right? Even if your workflow has thousands of complex steps, or even uses wild text-to-audio features to read the post out loud to you, the system itself cannot fix the joke on its own. It literally doesn't know how to pivot. A human still has to step in, manually rewrite the prompt for Claude, and try again. All the trial, all the error, all the creative heavy lifting rests entirely on human shoulders.
So here is the absolutely crucial takeaway.
On the left, an AI workflow means the human is the central decision maker, dictating the path. A workflow only becomes a true AI agent, like we see on the right, when the human steps back, completely removes themselves from the loop, and the AI becomes the sole decision maker. This is the massive paradigm shift happening right now in the tech world. We are moving away from giving precise instructions to just giving broad goals.
Which brings us to the main event, Level 3, Autonomous Agents.
Instead of a human rigidly dictating every step of the path, we introduce the ReACT framework. This is the most common configuration for AI agents, and it stands for the ability to autonomously reason and act. This right here is the core engine of true agency. Going back to our social media example, an agent will first reason. Okay, what's the best way to compile these news articles? Just copying them into Word? No, compiling links in Google Sheets is way better since the user's account is already connected. Then it will actually act by inserting the links itself. It figures out the how completely on its own, dynamically adjusting to whatever tools it has available, rather than blindly following a hard-coded script.
And because the AI is the decision maker now, it completely transforms the editing process. It can autonomously loop through its own output. It drafts version 1 of the post, reasons that it needs to ensure high quality, and then autonomously adds a step to critique its own jokes against LinkedIn best practices. It will iterate entirely on its own, tweaking the tone and structure over and over again until it perfectly meets your desired criteria. You just get the perfect final result. Zero micromanagement required.
So, let's see AI agents in action.
To prove we aren't just talking theory here, let's look at an awesome real-world example from AI pioneer Andrew Ng involving a vision agent. Imagine your goal is to search hours of raw video footage for the keyword skier. In the old days, a human would have to sit there, watch the footage, and painstakingly tag things frame by frame. But if you give an autonomous agent this simple keyword goal, there is absolutely no human manually tagging footage in the background.
Instead, the agent autonomously reasons it out first. It basically thinks, okay, what exactly does a skier look like? Well, it's a person on skis, moving really fast on snow. With that reasoning clearly established, it then acts by reviewing and indexing the massive pile of unorganized footage completely by itself, and finally outputs the exact isolated clip you need. It took your macro goal and broke it down into micro steps entirely on its own.
And this right here brilliantly illustrates the ultimate value of AI agents. The programming happening in the background, all that reasoning, acting, and iterating, is incredibly technical. But they handle all of that complex decision-making, so the average user doesn't even have to care about the underlying mechanics. You just get a beautifully simple front-end app that works flawlessly, doing the heavy lifting while you focus your brainpower on the big picture.
Let's wrap this up. The 3 levels summarized.
Think of this as your ultimate cheat sheet for where AI is right now. At level 1, LLMs are entirely passive. Input in, output out. At level 2, AI workflows are human-directed. You give an input, but the AI follows a rigid human-defined path to get to the output. But at level 3, true AI agents are autonomous decision makers. You simply give them a goal, and the AI reasons, acts, and iterates all on its own to achieve that final output.
So, as you start thinking about leveraging this tech, maybe starting by building your own tools, like a custom prompts database in Notion, I want you to look closely at your own day-to-day work. Which tedious, manual, multi-step task are you finally ready to surrender to an autonomous AI agent? Because this technology isn't just coming someday, it is already here, and it's waiting for your goals. The only real question left is, what are you going to ask it to do first?